Hello, everyone. Welcome to our live. My name is David Cantu. I will be doing today's live, and I know it's been a while, but I am happy to be back. And I will be talking about a very, very important topic: back to school tips for high school families, high school students, parents. Before we get started, if you want, feel free to let me know in the chat where you are joining from, and I will show your comments in this live. Again, we will be talking about back to school tips. Francisco did us the favor and talked about this last week, but we will be doing that again because there is a lot of you who said that this was your first back to school week. I know that August is the back to school month in the US. So if you are a parent watching or a student, please let us know if you are going back to school this week or the following, and I will also interact with you more one-on-one. Also, don't forget to follow our social media. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube today, but if you want to follow us on Instagram and on TikTok, please do so. Those are the names of our social media handles. And if you found value in this presentation and you want to learn even more strategies to help you maximize your odds of acceptance and get accepted into great colleges and universities with scholarships, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's a button down below where you can click on it and like this video if you thought that the information was useful. All right, so today, again, we'll be talking about back to school tips for high school students. Let me know in the chat if you are going back to school yet or if you're still waiting for that to happen. Again, Laura will be talking or moderating this live if there's a lot of questions. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the presentation. All right. Okay. One more thing, actually, I do want to let you all know that we do have a presentation after this live where I will be talking about the 6 most important strategies to help your students get accepted to college with scholarships. So if you haven't watched this presentation, there's a button down below this video in the description of this video, and you can click on it, register at the end of that presentation. We do have a special surprise for those of you who want to learn more about Best College Aid. Best College Aid is the sponsor of these videos and the sponsor of all of our content. We are the leading online college planning platform in the US, and we've helped thousands of families all across the country send their students to the best universities with scholarships. So thanks, Best College Aid, for this video. If you want to learn what's included inside Best College Aid at the end of this presentation, after delivering a lot of value, we will talk about that in more detail. All right. Okay, so that was pretty much the intro for this live. Now I will dive right into the information that I prepared for you all. Back to school tips for high school students. All right. So I asked you earlier in the live to tell me when your student is going to go back to high school or middle school. But there are some statistics, according to the Pew Research Center, that shows that most students, this is from 2019, but most students go back to school the second week of August. We are currently in the second or entering the second week of August. Again, this is not from 2022. Obviously, it's from 2019. But you can see that most students in the US and most school districts go back to school in the second week of August. Also, towards the end of August, the weekend before Labor Day, or excuse me, after Labor Day, a lot of students also go back to school then. So the strategies that I will recommend in this live is useful for high school freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. Okay, so if you have a student at home who is a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, this information is for you. So if you want to write down in the chat when your child is going back to school, please let us know in the chat. That will help make this live way more interactive. So please do let us know in the chat when your student's going to go back to school. I see that Angie is here saying hello. Laura is also here in the live saying hello. And again, follow Best College Aid USA if you want to keep up with everything that we post and everything that will help you maximize your students' odds of acceptance. All right. Remember that at the end of this live, I will answer your questions. So I do see that there are some questions right there, but please let me know when your student is going to go back to school. Is it this week? Was it last week? I know that in Georgia, some students started last week and some students actually started at the end of July. So if your student's already in school, please let us know. And if not, let us know as well when they're going to go back to school. I will go back to this slide after I'm done with the presentation. If any one of you shares the date when they will start. I see that Angie says that they will start on August 18th. Perfect. Well, this information is very, very valuable to you. All right. Now, that was the question for the live. I want to make these lives more interactive. But if you're a freshman or sophomore, okay, I know that some of you watching have students that are freshmen or sophomores in high school. What you should be doing now before before starting high school or before going back to school, and even if you already went back to school, what you need to be doing now is the following, right? You need to start taking college level courses. If you didn't select a college level course, try to take one your sophomore year. If you're a sophomore and you didn't take one, take college level classes your junior year. We do talk about what these classes are and how to select these classes inside Best College Aid. So again, start taking college level courses so that you can maximize your odds of winning scholarships and maximize your odds of getting accepted into great universities that require students to, I see Jenna said 15th, not 14th, to, again, get accepted with scholarships. That's the whole goal, right? And the second strategy for freshmen and sophomores is to practice for standardized tests. Once you enter high school, you will need to start preparing for the SAT or ACT exams. I know sophomores can begin to take the PSAT, which is the practice SAT test. So buy those books. If you're a member of Best College Aid, you do have access to practice material, official practice exams, and a lot of valuable resources to help you get a better score in both the ACT and SAT. So that's one thing, or another thing that students should do if you have children that are going to be freshmen or sophomore. Again, start taking college level courses, practice to improve your standardized tests, and lastly, join clubs and practice extracurricular activities. All right. A lot of parents ask me, okay, so my student is in a lot of clubs. Is that better, or should he or she be in a leadership position as opposed to being a member of a lot of clubs? And the answer is always quality over quantity, right? So you do want to be in clubs, but you don't want to just be a member. We talk about this in more depth inside Best College Aid. My siblings and I, we were all part of NHS, but then we all were in the board our junior year. We had a leadership position. Laura was the president. Francisco was VP, I believe, of NHS. And I was the project coordinator when I was in high school. So being a member is great, but if you can be a leader within an organization or club, or even in an extracurricular activity like a sport, let's say you're the captain, or in theater, you're the lead singer for a play, that looks great. And the colleges will reward students who do, in fact, show that in their college applications. Okay, so that is the advice that I wanted to share for parents with freshmen and sophomores. All right. So if you have a freshman or sophomore, please let me know in the chat. If you have a student that is a junior or a senior, please also let us know so that I know who is watching and maybe give you even more examples than the ones that I prepared in this deck, okay, in this presentation. Now, if you're a junior, right, the most important year, so they say, then you need to start researching schools, right? You need to start creating that list of colleges and universities. And again, I keep saying this, we do teach this step by step inside our online course, Best College Aid. But if you're not a member, remember at the end, I will explain how you can become a member. But start researching schools. This is something that it's a responsibility of both parents and students. Parents must not select the schools for the student, but they should help create that list of colleges, right? Because we believe here inside Best College Aid that when you create a list of colleges, The requirements must be that the school must satisfy the students' academic needs, the students' extracurricular needs, but most importantly, the household's financial needs, right? So if you want to apply to a school that can give you a lot of merit and need-based aid, then you need to be strategic when it comes to creating this list of universities, right? So start researching schools now. You can start earlier, you can start sophomore year, but junior year, before starting or right before we get back to school, you do want to start creating a list of schools and start to understand and have these conversations with your students at home, right? You will also want to now take the standardized tests. I talked about how you have to prepare for them when you're a freshman or sophomore, but you will need to start taking them junior year. There are some classes that students must take junior year and senior year unless they took them early and they were ahead of everyone. Most classes, for example, for the ACT, you will need basic knowledge of chemistry, and maybe your student hasn't taken chemistry up until junior year. So junior year is a great time to take standardized tests. You will also need to start planning college visits for the schools that are in your list. There are things you can ask during college visits. There are ways that you can make these trips affordable because they can be expensive if you don't plan for them correctly. We do teach how to do this inside Best College Aid. So if you're a member, please let me know if you have any questions and I will point you in the right direction. Now, the last piece of advice for these back to school tips for juniors is that you will need to start applying for scholarships, right? A lot of parents were asking earlier in our live that Laura did, when can I start applying for scholarships? I am a junior or I am in middle school. When can I start applying for scholarships? You can start applying for scholarships as early as middle school, but you will have more opportunities to apply and win scholarships when you are in junior year, right? Freshmen and sophomores, there are programs that you can apply to, private scholarship programs, but there are more programs when you are a junior. So again, if you're a junior, you will want to start applying for private scholarships. Remember, there's 4 types of scholarships and financial aid that students and families can apply to. We actually go over this in more depth inside our presentation. So if you haven't watched it already, the link is underneath this description, and I will go over how to maximize the 4 types of scholarships and financial aid available for families. But that is the last piece of advice for my juniors. You don't want to be going to your senior year, which is what I will talk about next, and you haven't applied to any scholarships, you haven't looked for schools, you don't want to be in that position. You don't want this to be something that you leave to for the last minute, and then there's a lot of surprises, headaches, and discussion among parents and students because there was no planning before getting to senior year, which is what I will talk about next on the final back to school tip for seniors in high school. Okay, so when you're a senior, we're already in August. Some or a lot of early decision, early action college applications already opened. So you can start applying, and you should be applying to the colleges in your list. If you're a junior, you should have already created that list. We go over how to do that step by step inside Best College Aid. So don't worry about that if you're a member. And the second step is to continue to take standardized tests, right? Especially if you are a student that wants to improve his or her SAT or ACT scores, you can take these tests again, and maybe there's a scholarship that needs a specific score, right? Well, you will want to take the standardized test. That's what I put an asterisk there. And the third tip is to fill out and submit financial aid and scholarship forms. I talked about there are 4 different types of financial aid and scholarships available for families. Well, a lot of these scholarships and financial aid opportunities will require you to submit a specific form, right? And you will need to submit them on time, do them correctly. Again, we do go over how to fill out these forms in Best College Aid correctly and on time. So once you get those forms filled out, you will want to submit them. And the last tip for my seniors in high school, and a lot of parents and families don't know this, is that you can actually improve the financial aid awards that you get when you get accepted to a university, right? So you will get accepted, and then the schools will give you a financial aid package or a scholarship award letter. you can negotiate with the school and improve that award letter. That is something that, again, we teach inside Best College Aid how to do. And the strategies are very simple. We actually do go in and talk about them more depth inside this free training. So if you have not watched it and you want to learn how to help your student get accepted to college with scholarships, click the link underneath this video. I will show you how to do that just now. And what you will want to do is, let me see if I can just pull up the presentation. Okay, so here is the live. Let me make this full screen. There's a link underneath this video, right? So you will click on this link. Let's open a new tab. And once you click on it, it will take you to this registration page where you can, again, watch the video with Laura and I, where we explain what you will learn. There's some testimonials here. Also, you can keep reading if you feel like you need to get more information about this training. But this training has been watched by hundreds of thousands of people in the US, and it's been of great help. You click on Save My Seat, the red button beneath this thing that popped up, and you can select the date, enter your first name and the email address you want to get the confirmation email sent to. All right. So once you fill out that form, you will be able to watch that training and get even more strategies than the ones I recommended. These tips have helped a lot of students, a lot of families understand how the process works. And I know that it's very frustrating for a lot of you a lot of parents especially, who want to help their students, but they don't know exactly how, or the student's not necessarily communicating the information. Well, we broke down all the all the steps that you need to complete to qualify for more scholarships and maximize your odds of getting into great universities. The tips that we share in that presentation, in fact, help my siblings and I get accepted to our dream schools with over $500,000 in aid and scholarships. So if you want to learn how we did it and how a lot of our students and members of Best College Aid have done it, you can watch that training and the information will be of great help. All right. So that was pretty much what I had prepared for all of you. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. And if you found this information useful, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, give this video a like, and that will help us get the word out to more people. That's how the algorithm pushes material or pushes content to people who are interested in learning more about this. I see that there are some questions, so I will go over that now. I see that Angie says, thank you so much for the information that you give us. Just recently, we are members of Best College Aid, and there is a lot of information. Literally, my mind is at its maximum. You see, well, that is just one example that we didn't even ask for this testimonial. Thank you so much, Angie. I'm very happy that you shared that with us. Yes, the information inside Best College Aid, it's a lot, but it's very condensed and it's very organized so that families can just start watching, absorb the information, complete all the steps. And if they have any questions along the way, obviously you can reach out to us via email. We do these weekly live streams where a lot of our members ask questions, and there's a lot more bonuses and benefits included inside this membership. We do go over what these benefits are for our members. So if you want to learn more about how we can help you and what's included in Best College Aid, please watch this training at the end. After delivering a lot of value, we do go over that. And I mentioned there was a surprise. Well, because it's back to school season, we offer a very special discount at the end of that presentation, a back to school sale, back to school discount. And that's for all of you who are interested in learning more tips. Okay. Now, I see that there are more questions. The Arelis ask, hello, if I'm not a citizen and cannot apply for FAFSA, how can the colleges know if I need financial aid? Great question. So someone inside our community posted this question earlier. So I recommend that you go to our Facebook group for members, if you are our members, the Arelis. And I actually showed how to look for there are over 900 schools that can help international students. So students that are not U.S. citizens, residents, or eligible non-U.S. citizens, right? So if you are not a U.S. citizen, a resident, or a eligible non-U.S. citizen, then you will need to apply to universities like an international student. If you have paid taxes for a certain amount of time in the state where you live and you want to go in state, then depending on your state and the school, you might qualify for in-state tuition. There's a lot of ways to lower the cost of going to a university if you follow the steps again that we teach inside Best College Shade. If you are a member, please post this question or go inside the Facebook group for members. And there's a question that was actually asked today by one of our members where I go over what to do. There's strategies like looking for schools that offer the CSS profile or looking for schools that can offer in-state tuition, right? So there are ways and things you can do. Again, please let us know if you have post this question in the group and reach out to me personally if you're already a member of Best College Aid, okay? See, Laura is also helping me answer some questions, and there she says that if you have any additional questions, please ask them in the group for members, okay? So Jenna has a question as well. When is the best time to apply for the FAFSA? Actually, if you go to a lot of the schools' Instagrams accounts, the official Instagram accounts for a lot of the universities, they have a lot of posts about how it's now time to open to apply for FAFSA 2022, 2023. So the best time to apply for the FAFSA is now. You will not be able to submit this form, right? If you're a high school student, a rising senior that's going to go to school next year, you won't be able to submit this form to the colleges and universities in your list until August 1st, right? But you can start filling out these forms now if you're a senior. And if you're already in college, you need to resubmit these forms, the FAFSA, maybe not CSS profile, but you'll need to do it every year. And we do have step-by-step tutorials on how to fill out the FAFSA and the CSS profile inside Best College Aid. But to answer your question, the best time to apply for the FAFSA is now. You can start applying now, but you won't be able to submit it to the schools in your list until October 1st. That is why we recommend our students, our members of Best College Aid, to first create a list of colleges and universities. And then once you create that list, you will want to you will want to submit that financial aid form to them. And once you get accepted, right, fingers crossed, you will then receive your scholarship award letter with all the aid and scholarships that you qualify for. Okay, so great question, Jenna. Thank you so much. And I see that Laura is also helping me answer some questions here. And I don't know if there's any more questions in the chat. Angie says some neighboring school districts already started today. Yes. So depending on your school district, depending on the students, what state they're in, then they might have already started school. I wanted to pull up the slide of the chart where, yeah, you see a lot of students can either start early or late July. A lot of them can start towards the latter weeks of August. But yeah, that's pretty much how back to school dates work here in the US. If you guys don't have any other questions, and thank you so much for sharing that, Angie. I really appreciate that. If there's no more questions, I guess we will call it a day. Don't forget to watch this free training where I will teach you the 6 steps or the 6 strategies to help your students get accepted to college with scholarships. The link is underneath this video's description. If you are on YouTube, and if you're on Facebook, it should be somewhere above or below this video as well. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is David Cantu, and I hope that you all have a great rest of your week. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and on TikTok, because we will be live tomorrow. We'll be live on Instagram and on TikTok tomorrow at 3 p.m. So follow us there. We'll be posting more content. And if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with Best College Aid, feel free to follow us there and like this video if you found it valuable. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.